top10.com, and here I am today at the Amalgamation exhibition in London, and I'm very pleased to be here with Alison Goodyear. Hello, Alison.
Hello, Robert. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, come on, tell me about these crazy things.
Okay, yeah, so this is a new development in my paintings. Essentially, what I've been working with is recording my palettes, my painting palettes, and that evolved out of my PhD research, where I was trying to document practice. Trying to find different ways of recording a painting process.
So you're recording the colours on the palette?
Yeah, but also to some extent, there's things like the viscosity, the thickness, and obviously colour choices. But you can also, there's an element of time recorded within the palettes, as in you can see, sometimes you can see what's gone before and how you've ended up, and there's a little narrative within palettes. Really intrigued by them. And also there's the thing between the intention and the unintentional. So intention as in you're looking at your pigments, like I say, viscosity of the paint. But then when you're mixing something, you're not thinking about the marks. And there's that element of unintentional that appears on the palette.
Absolutely, just those sort of smeary brush
exactly,
as you're mixing it up.
Yeah, so I now work with paper palettes, which allows me to keep them rather than a glass slab or whatever. Paper palettes make sense. So what I was doing, actually, which is you can see in this painting here.
I like these little ones, they're really
so this was last year's work.
So is that a painting or is that the palette?
It's both.
Okay.
So this work is, there's paint initially applied to the canvas. Okay. Take a photograph of the palette. I then transfer that image, print it onto silk. I stretch the silk over the top of the canvas. Apply a medium to seal it, and then paint some more on top.
Crazy stuff. So that's a photo of the palette on a piece of silk?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, with painting underneath and painting on top.
We're painting underneath and painting on top. So when you put the photo of the painting on top, does what's underneath come through?
Yes.
It does?
Yeah.
How do you put that on there?
I go to printers.
You go to printers? Oh,
yes.
Yeah. That's really wild.
Yeah, I experimented with lots of different materials, lots of different paint, mediums, because obviously you have to seal silk when you paint it, otherwise it'll rot.
Because otherwise it's all going to go chaos.
So the sealing allows you to carry on painting.
Carry on painting, absolutely.
Carry on painting.
That's really interesting.
So that was last year's process, and then since last year I started developing work in virtual reality. Nice. VR painting. And so these works around the corner are a next progression, you might say. So the image isn't just a photograph of the physical paint palette, it's also a combination of a virtual reality painting, so a digital mashup. So, but the underpainting in the case of these works is actually done with luminescent paint.
Oh, that's so freaky, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're all sort of, I suppose, explorations into light and colour. So the larger marks, for instance, these, are the first marks. They're the first bit of paint laid down. Then we have the silk on top. And then we have further layers of paint. And some of that is luminous acrylic. And some of it's oil, bring out highlights. So you're not really sure
what you're seeing.
Yeah,
and so
essentially.
You've gone around these with the paint will pick up on the torches?
Yes, the luminous paint,
And then is there a digital print on here as well?
It's the silk.
It's the silk.
Yeah, it's the silk, so that's the combination of paint palette and virtual reality image. So you might see here, well, this is definitely an element of paint palette. And then this is definitely a virtual reality element.
Oh, I see.
So that's physical paint, virtual reality paint.
Okay, so you've gone...
Physical paint, virtual reality paint, it's kind of...
That's quite freaky. So you've gone into your photograph of the palette and then added digital stuff to it.
Yeah, added virtual reality. So basically, so I'm taking the physical elements into virtual reality, but I'm also taking the virtual reality elements back into the physical realm, which is a term we would describe as phygital.
Phygital?
Not mine, no. Other artists have used it, but it's a marketing term. Phygital, physical and digital.
Oh, physical and digital?
Phygital.
Well, that's a marketing term for like what sort of big marketing companies?
Yeah.
How bizarre.
I know. But other artists have used it, and it perfectly describes this type of process.
Yeah.
So I suppose they're a contemplation on painting practice.
Absolutely.
And how we relate to light and colour, and if it's going to be a 2D surface or in a virtual immersive environment.
What I can't quite understand is there must be a palette left at the end of making these.
Yeah,
And then
a paper
does
palette.
that then go back into the next picture?
Well, I will have that. I will take photographs of it,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if that then goes on and on.
So it's like a crazy,
Click
never-ending...
Yeah, rabbit hole. You're down it. There's no escape.
No coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
So yeah, and then I just keep trying to push those boundaries. So the black light was a bit of fun. I mean, I have much stronger bulbs, but I wouldn't use that in a group show. So the torch is a way of encouraging the audience to activate the work somewhat. Yeah, and see what else they could find.
Cool, and I think you've got another, even more crazy piece upstairs.
Yeah.
Should we go and have a look at that?
Let's do that.
Alison, this is another one of yours on the way as we're upstairs to see the thing. I like the colours in this one.
Yeah, the blue works really well. I like this kind of.
So as you've got these kind of, are you trying to avoid making decisions about it, or are you trying to narrow down your decision-making process, or add extra chaos into it?
I don't know. I suppose it's an ongoing investigation. It's as in, what happens if I do this?
Okay.
If I try this, how does this work? And invariably, sometimes it fails, and then other times you get these, where it's a push and pull, where hopefully there's immersive, maybe absorptive moments within the work, and others where you're pushed forward and you're questioning what exactly it is you're looking at.
Oh, well, I suppose that's actually quite good. Questioning what you're looking at is a good point to take us upstairs to the next bit.
Good point. Right.
So Alison, tell me about that. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary, this thing with a piece of silk blowing around. Tell me what's going on.
So, Robert, this is a combination of me exploring the physical and the digital again, so the digital, through virtual reality painting. This piece is called Painting Experiments from a Virtual Studio.
Okay.
And it's a combination of my works testing what's possible within the realms of virtual reality painting.
Okay.
So to begin with, the silk, it's similar, it's the same silk that I use within my painting process.
Okay.
This has an image, again, of a physical paint palettes and a virtual reality painting printed onto it, so actually on the surface.
Yeah, no, it's actually, you can see it, the edge.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then projected onto the top of that are films made of the virtual reality painting. So the paintings are made in tilt brush.
Okay. What's that?
So tilt brush is a bit of software that's owned by Google.
Okay.
And it enables the wearer of a head-mounted display, so the goggles and controllers, to go into a blank immersive environment and paint in 3D.
Oh, okay, you can actually go into that environment and paint in 3D.
Yes, so that you don't need a surface.
Okay. Very interesting.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
So this work is a combination of 6 or 7 sketches, painting experiments, seeing what is possible. For instance, this one we're looking at now was my first ever.
Okay, your first ever 3D virtual painting.
Yeah. For example, one of the things that is really exciting is that you can make a mark and then you can duplicate that mark. And you can repeat it, and you could step it in colour or scale.
Oh, you're just going to literally exactly repeat it?
Yeah.
Because you're on a computer. Basically.
Copy and paste, yeah.
Very nice.
Then you have a selection of tools that you can use, and some of them are very painterly.
Okay.
So the designers have created these tools that help us understand what digital painting might be.
Okay.
And then there are tools that go all the way through to the other end of the spectrum, shall we say.
Absolutely.
And actually, I did a demo at TVX, BBC Media City, earlier this year, and I was tweeting about it, and Ashley Pinnock, one of the designers of these tools
Oh, yeah.
responded.
Really?
So yeah,
Oh, that's
and she's you know, liked some of the work I've been doing. So that was really fabulous.
Very
so
nice.
mutual admiration there.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I've been trying to see what is possible with the tools.
Yeah.
In some of the works, actually we could potentially fast forward through.
Yeah.
I've imported images of my physical paint palette.
Okay, very nice.
So so that has worked as a backdrop to then build the virtual reality paintings from.
I really like the idea of it's almost like you're layering those ideas again and again and again to see what happens.
Absolutely, it's an amalgamation.
Yeah. Well, no, it is an amalgamation.
It is, yes.
I really like it because I often thought when I was doing paintings in the past I always liked the way like rap music or even because my paintings are about music potentially.
Right.
And it's very much like a layered of sounds.
Yeah.
And what I like is, this is like a layer of images.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Ideas, explorations, all those elements.
And I suppose what's nice about this is you can, almost maybe more than the paintings, you can actually appreciate the different layers within each other changing.
Absolutely. I mean, with the film, I'm taking the viewer into the painting.
Yeah,
you know, you're going literally between the layers that you normally would only see from one direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like you're being enveloped. And when I've watched people encounter my paintings in VR, and there's a huge amount of hand movement going on, where they're trying to do this whole parting and
swim through them.
So I'm currently working with the University of Northampton, and we're doing some research. We're looking at how we can use the content I make in Tiltbrush, taking it into game design engines like Unity, and then responding to the participants. So mapping their movements and learning from it, but also we could actually make the painting respond to them.
Nice.
So that then becomes like a closed loop event where they generate the work. Again, it's in the way that the blacklight torch was a fun little way. It might be another way.
You could get it further, or their hands would touch it, and it would ripple. Or
Yes, we're exploring, and it might be sound as well because we're going to sample sounds from the studio. So there might be the pure sounds of the studio, mixing of paint and
the sounds of weeping,
screaming, deadlines, probably some swearing. And then distort those sounds. So in the same way that some of these tools are close to paint, some of them are much further away.
That's quite like the idea of taking music, taking the paint and turning it into actual obscure music.
There are certain things we could do with the data as well that might be interesting to see how that could be extrapolated. But yeah, I mean, there's another thing behind the silk as well. Have you heard of Zeusis and Parrhasius?
No.
Right, okay, so Pliny the Elder, forgive the art history lesson, Pliny the Elder wrote about this ancient Greek painting competition. Okay. It was between the two best painters of the day, who were Zeusis and Parrhasius. Okay. So they had a stage, they had the paintings on the stage covered, and Zeusis was the first to unveil his painting. Okay. And he unveiled it, and it was still life, grapes, fruit, and it was said to be so lifelike that the birds flew down to peck at the grapes.
Go on.
Penny, So then it came to Parrhasius' turn, and Zeusis turned to Parrhasius and said, "Parrhasius, take down the curtain and let us see your work." Yeah. But obviously, the work was the curtain. So.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So Zeusis had fooled the birds, but Parrhasius had fooled Zeusis. Yes. So there's been a long history of the curtain and painting. But also mimesis, this sense of trying to mimic the real, but stepping away from that. And it occurred to me not that long ago that this whole thing about reality, what is it we're looking at, that is kind of tied in with these works. And actually, this piece we're looking at now is a projection from my studio, filmed and then projected onto this silk. So. You'll see a silk move that's not this silk, it's a silk that was in the studio.
That's really cool. I really like that whole sort of looping sense of it coming back around. I love the story about the two guys.
Yeah, Zeus's Paisius.
Yeah, it's really interesting, that story, isn't it? About, because a lot of the work we do, like this is more abstract. It's not mimicking, or is it mimicking the real in a way
it is and it isn't. You know,
Exactly.
it's paint, but it's not paint. It's responding to paint. So obviously, you know, painting the expanded field, it looks back, but then takes it forward in unusual ways.
That's really cool.
So I mean, hence why this piece is on a wooden stretcher, and it's an easel.
On the easel,
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's all referencing that art
that.
historical, you know, background.
Oh, it's really cool. I've really enjoyed looking at it. And fascinating.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to being immersed in the next bit.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cheers. Thank you, Robert.
Bombuckler.